Well, it looks like we're live and looks like I've got Mike, got a green light. Welcome, I'm Tonya, and this is a comeback yoga class. We'll actually get started in about 15 minutes. So if you're watching this live, just hang out and we'll start in 15 minutes. If you're watching this as a recording, then go ahead and fast forward if you like, and 15 minutes later, and that's when the actual class will start. So we'll just kind of get settled in. Just want to make sure that all systems were go, and looks like they are. But if you're coming on and want to give me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that thumbs up to let me know that all systems are a go. Again, I'm Tonya, and I'm gonna read a little bit to you today. Just a really short reading today. So go ahead and get comfortable. A scientist sets out to conquer nature through knowledge, external nature and external knowledge. By these means, he or she may split the atom and achieve external power. A yogi, however, sets out to explore their own internal nature, the atom of our being. He or she does not gain dominion over wide lands and restless seas, but over their own recalcitrant flesh and mind. This is the power of compassionate truth. The presence of truth can make us feel naked, but compassion takes away our shame. It is this inner quest for growth and evolution, or involution, that is the profound and transformational yogic journey that awaits the seeker of truth. We begin this involution with what is most tangible, our physical body. And the yoga asana, or the physical postures, helps us to understand and learn how to play this magnificent instrument that each one of us has been given. So that's my short reading for today. This involution, I like that idea, and that seeking truth takes the shame and provides us with compassion. So just a novel maybe idea to consider as we go inward in this inward journey of yoga, just to see how finding ourselves makes us more compassionate. I just love that idea that through this we become more compassionate, the compassion that we can have for ourselves. So the more and more that we journey inward, the more we can seek to find compassion. So just consider that for thought today. If you're just joining, you will be needing a pillow and a towel, a beach towel or a bath towel for this all levels yoga class. Getting yourself situated. You can also have a yoga mat or an exercise mat, just to provide a little bit of gripping on the surface for when we do our standing work. Doesn't mean that you have to have a yoga mat or an exercise mat to practice yoga, as yoga is something that we can do every day. It doesn't have to be done on a mat. It can be done on the ground. It can be done in the bed. You can do it anywhere, anytime. And just meeting ourselves where we're at, whatever we're capable of in any given day, meeting our energy levels, our capacity. Sometimes we show up on, to our practice, and it looks and feels completely different than it did the day before. And so that's part of this inward journey of finding compassion to meet ourselves wherever we end up in any given day, in a given moment. And as I've said before, that yoga is meant to reach all people, all lands. It does not discriminate. So wherever you are today, just meet yourself as you would a friend, with compassion, kindness. We have about 10 minutes before we get started. And if you have the capacity to type something, want to just chat and connect, let me know what's going on with you today, how you're doing, a little hello. And let me know how I can support your practice today. If you're feeling tight in your hips or your shoulders, or maybe just needing a really low-key practice, or if you're wanting a little bit more vigorous practice, remembering that the yoga practice is designed to meet you where you're at, not for you to adapt to the practice. So always, always just trying to remind ourselves of that. And I'll remind you as well as we move throughout our practice today. And let the practice come to you. About 5 minutes before we get started. It's important that you stay hydrated. So if you want to grab a glass of water or something to stay hydrated throughout, and then a towel and a pillow for today's practice, and we'll get started shortly. I'll be right back. So if you're just joining live or in a pre-recorded session, we have about 3 minutes before we get started. So you'll need a towel and a pillow today. And so go ahead and grab your props and we'll get started in a couple minutes. Just a little bit longer here. We'll get started in about a minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got top of the hour now, TikTok. I'm Tonya. Welcome, friends, to Comeback Yoga. This online class today is for all levels. You'll be needing a towel and a pillow. And if you have a yoga mat or an exercise mat. And always remember to just do what you can and adapt the practice to you rather than you adapting to the practice. So if you're brand new in this all levels class, you might find that there's some postures you're not familiar with that you may be more challenging for you. Remember, this is a recorded session and you can pick it up later and watch the replay. If you're joining live, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you all. I'm Tonya. Again, I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Today's all levels class, we'll be doing some floor work, some standing work, and then back to the floor. It's about 55 minutes long. We'll end with a guided meditation, about 5 to 10 minutes long for that guided meditation. And we're going to be working just total body today. So unless you have a request and you're joining live and you have something you'd like to request or share, I'd love to hear from you. Interaction's great. Love to hear what is going on in your world today. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and start our inward journey today. So we're going to start on our back, lying on the pillow. So I have my pillow set up and coming down so that your back, your torso is supported by the pillow. And you could use a towel if you want for the head, depending on the length of your pillow. So I'll let you kind of get that set up and we come down onto our backs. If your pillow is long enough that it supports your head, then you can take your towel and open it up so that it's long ways. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and just kind of wrap the towel behind the legs. Otherwise, use it for your head. Just a couple of different options there. And you can have the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. Or if that's not comfortable, you can bring the knees together and have the feet wide. I'm going to start there today with my feet wide, my knees supported. Whatever is going to give you the most security and safety in your own body, on the surface. Whatever starts to create a sense of ease in your body, in your mind. And let's acknowledge our breath here. With the sinuses are clear, breathing in and out through the nose. And if your breath feels easier on your inhale, then see about extending that inhale a little bit. If your breath is easier on the exhale, then see about extending the exhale a little bit longer without strain, without too much effort. Either way, whatever is the most natural for you, just explore a little bit more depth or a little bit more length. And start to notice how the ribs move, the surface beneath you. That pillow is a little forgiving, a little softening. Noticing the hinge of your jaw, the back teeth, if they're touching or not. And then how about the ears, the sound coming into your ears, the ear canals. Starting to connect a little bit more, not just with the breath, but on a physical level, how we're feeling and how this practice supports us as we connect to our bodies, to our breath, bringing our thinking mind into the body mind, into the heart mind, into our breath. Take a couple more moments here. You might notice the breath becoming wider, longer, just naturally, without forcing, without straining. Let's take a few more breaths, just a few. Now roll off of your pillow. If you'd like to, you could place your pillow under your head, depending on what feels the best for your head. And come onto the side so that your shoulders are stacked and the hips, and you'll bend your knees. You want to have your body in what feels like a long line. So instead of rounding, think of yourself running the length of your mat. With your next inhale, I'll take the top arm up overhead towards the ceiling. And then maybe it goes behind as you kind of open up your chest a little bit, and then come back to the front. And let your head move with the arm on your inhale, rolling towards the back wall, and exhaling into the front. Let's do one more time. Inhale, arm reaches up, and exhale, moves to the back. Back to the front. And then let's this time circle the arm next to the ear, and then open up the shoulder. Maybe there's a little bend in the elbow, and then let that shoulder come down towards the floor. That might mean that your knee lifts a little bit in order to release the shoulder down, and that's okay. Again, you want to find some ease. If there's limited range in that shoulder or the back, just notice that. And if a couple of breaths don't alter that, then alter the position. I'll take 2 more breaths. And rolling back onto your side. Good. And bring your top knee in towards your chest, grab your ankle, and then send the knee away from you for a little quad stretch here. If this feels okay here, you can keep the bottom knee bent, or maybe for a little bit more sensation, you can straighten the bottom leg, only if that feels okay, depending on how strong of a sensation you like, or if you're feeling like you couldn't balance on with the straight leg, because sometimes that does add a little bit more instability. So whatever you're up for today, I'm going to keep the foot pressing against the hand, getting a little sensation on the front of the hip. All right, and then bring that knee forward, draw into your chest, and roll to your back with the knee into the chest, rolling onto the back. Put the foot down onto the floor. If you need to adjust your pillow a little, do so, or your spine. Keep that knee hugging in for just 2 more breaths, maybe holding behind the knee or the front of the knee. And then straighten that same leg towards the ceiling. Roll the ankle around, rotating it one direction a few times, maybe noticing popping, snapping. It's important that we maintain flexibility in our joints, especially the ankles, so we find stability, walking, balancing, everyday life. Circle the ankle the other way if you haven't already. Good. And then bring that same ankle across the other knee and hold here for a couple of breaths. If you want to stay here, if it feels okay. Otherwise, see about bringing the knee closer in towards the chest. And you can hold on to the back of the leg here, maybe the front of the shin, or you could also use your towel and you can kind of hook the front of the shin here and hold on to the towel. So that's an option. You can even hook onto the ankle. So we'll be using our towel for different ways today. All right, and let's go ahead and take the foot down to the floor and straighten out both legs. You can just let your towel rest on your lap if you're using that. And then point and flex both feet here. And now bring your arms up over towards the wall behind you, next to the ears, as you flex your feet. So the toes moving towards the knees is called flexion. And then exhale, arms lower to your sides and point your feet. Circle the arms up, flex your feet. Exhale, arms come down and point your feet. One more time. Inhale, flex. And exhale, point. Kind of like a snow angel, but not quite. Okay. If you're coming from an area that has snow, you may or may not know our snow angels. It's not quite a snow angel, but all right. Okay, we're gonna take our sequence to the other side. So walk your feet in, and I'm actually gonna turn to face you again. So you're gonna come on to the other side, stacking the shoulders and resting your head on the pillow. Okay. The knees are coming out in front, arms are stacked. With your next inhale, take your top arm up overhead and exhale, roll to the side, to the back. Come back up and to the front. 2 more times. Back up. And last one. Reach up and back. Coming to the front, and then circle your top arm overhead. Take your head to follow that arm, and then look over your back arm. Again, if it's better on your back, let the knee lift a little bit. Sometimes that can ease any of the strain that comes in the back. Otherwise, if it feels better to keep the knee down, you could also elevate the knee with your towel if that was available. And we'll take 2 more breaths here and the twist. All right, and then come on back. Now, one thing I didn't suggest on the last side was you could use your towel to grab the ankle here. So you can grab the ankle with the towel and then bring the knee behind you this way. So that's one option. And pressing the knee back. Also straighten that leg if you recall. Almost like a lunge position here, especially with the knee bent out in front. And we'll take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Noticing the sensation. You want to try to keep your hip in line with the knee rather than letting the knee come down to the floor. So working some kind of integrity through the joints. And then bring your knee back to your chest. Hug it in. And if you straightened your bottom leg, bring it back out in front of you and roll onto your back. And draw the knee in. And straighten your leg to the ceiling. Again, another placement for the towel if you like to bring it on the bottom of the foot. However, we're going to roll the ankle around and then going the other way. That's a pull to the back of the leg here. All right. And I'll take the ankle now on the knee and maybe throw that towel in front of the shin or the ankle and keep it there. Or maybe draw the knees in this way. By the way, I think that having all these tools can really make the practice work for us. Sometimes we're trying to fit these postures into positions that maybe don't work for our body types. So really, really important to consider that. Making the practice work for us and adapting ourselves to the practice. Or not adapting ourselves to practice. Having the practice adapt to us. Okay, I'll get that right. Lower the foot down. You can move your towel up to the side, and we're gonna straighten the legs again, and just kind of rock the legs side to side. And then point and flex. And the arm movement, inhale, the arms lift, flex the feet, and exhale, the arms come down. We'll do 2 more times. Inhale, flex, and exhale, point. Last one. Inhale, reach, and exhale. Good. Take both knees into the chest, forward and back. And then hold on to either the backs of the knees or the tops of the shins. Bring those knees right over the hips, and then lift your shins so that they're parallel to the floor. If you want to keep the pillow under your head, or you can move it out at this point. Start to move the legs a little bit further away till you start to feel a little bit of abdominal engagement. Keep that abdominal engagement, and you exhale, maybe out through the mouth. Feel stable through the core, through the midsection here. So you can hold those legs right where they are, just by simply using the core. So if it hurts, then maybe bring the knees back in. And let's take 2 more breaths here. Big inhale, feeling the waist sort of expand, and then exhale, feel the waistline narrow. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Nice work. All right, bring those knees in. And we'll roll to the side. And press up. Coming to tabletop. Tabletop position, the knees are under the hips and hands under the shoulders. Take 3 rounds of cat-cow here. So cat-cow is a movement where we move through the spine, the belly drops towards the ceiling. Head, maybe a little soft bend in the elbows. Take 2 more rounds here. Just moving through the spine and the head. Good. And last one. Coming to a neutral position, tuck your toes under, move your hips towards the heels, and stretch your arms long. We call this puppy pose. So reach through the arms. The hips may or may not come to the heels. Let's get a nice long here. And think about engaging the abdominals here. So instead of just dropping your ribs towards the ground, kind of lift the ribs slightly away from the ground. As you reach long through the fingers, through the arms. And then with your next inhalation, keep those arms nice and long and lift your hips up for downward facing dog. Invite length through the arms, through the fingers, through the legs, and through the spine. Invite length in the breath, both in and out. Now bring your feet a little bit wider, maybe even to the edge of your mat. Turn your heels in towards the midline of the mat, toes out. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Once you get to a position where you are more or less in a forward fold, bend your knees out to the side and lower the hips. So you might have to adjust your stance here, but coming down into a squat. Bring the palms together into a prayer position and maybe look forward. Lift your sternum so that your collarbones go broad, your shoulders go back, toes and knees pointing in the same direction. If this is too low or too problematic for the hips, you can, or the knees, you can bring your forearms onto your thighs. You can also use your towel to elevate the heels. So a couple different options there. And let's take 2 more breaths here. Really get long. That's it. And 1 more breath. Good. And then release your hands to the floor. Straighten your legs and remove your towel. Keeping your feet a little wider in that wider stance, that wider fold. Let nod the head a couple of times, yes. And then maybe a no or 2, side to side. That's okay. Doesn't make you feel dizzy. And then a couple of rotations in the head. Just gentle rotations. And then go any other way. Slow, mindful, just to not get yourself dizzy there. And then come to the middle and pause for a moment. And then bend your knees, bring your hands onto your lap, and come all the way up to stand. Here we are in our standing. So get your bearings here. Pause for a moment. Take a couple of breaths, feel the floor, notice the room around you. Pick out a color, a texture. Feel the feet. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Notice if there's any tingling in the fingers and the palms, hands. All right, and then bring your feet about hip distance, and we can face the camera or the screen if you aren't there. And feet about hip distance. We'll bring the arms up to a nice wide V. And on your exhale, bend your knees, lower the hips. On your next inhale, reach up, come all the way back up to stand. And lower your arms down to the ground or to the sides. Inhale, bring the arms to that wide V again. And exhale, come down into a chair position. Inhale and rise. Exhale, lower the arms down. Let's do 1 more time. Inhale, the arms come up. And exhale, come down into a chair. We're going to add on now. So press down into your right foot. Feel it a little bit heavier. And then on your next inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And hold here for 3. If you need to touch down, do so for 2. And 1. Lower down. Come back into that chair, arms wide, exhale, and come down. Notice your left foot. Inhale, push down into that left foot, lift your right leg. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Good. Stand tall, open those shoulders for 3, 2, and 1. Touch down, release the arms to your sides. Pause for a couple of breaths here. If you want to rock a little side to side, maybe even forward and back, to notice the feet. Good. All right, now turn towards the short edge of your mat and bring the hands to the heart. With your next inhale, we'll take those arms to that wide V. Exhale, bring the hips low to the chair. Press down into your right foot. Lift your left knee, hands come to the heart. Inhale to stand tall. Your foot can come to the floor. Exhale now, step your leg back, touch down. Bring your leg back up. Again, hinge forward and touch down, back behind you. Come back up, knee to chest. Last one, touch down. Now, keep your foot down to the ground. Hinge a little bit forward, bring the arms to your sides. Lift those arms up towards the ceiling. Hinge forward a little bit more and see if you can lift your back leg, just even an inch off the floor. Maybe 2, maybe 3. Good. And then bring the feet back together, hands to the heart. All right, inhale, arms lift, reach up. Maybe look up if that's okay on your head and neck. And exhale, hands come to the heart. Inhale, let's take those arms wide again. Exhale, bend your knees and come into that chair position. Check out those toes and push into your left foot. Bring your right leg up. And exhale, hands come to heart. Firm your standing leg, get nice and tall. Hinge forward and step your right leg back. And inhale, lift off, bring the leg back to chest. And hinge forward, step back. And back up. And last one, touch down. Good, we're gonna hold here. Bring those arms to your side. Squeeze those arms up towards the ceiling, maybe even towards the midline. So pinkies towards your back. Look forward, maybe lift off the back leg a little or a lat for warrior 3. Good, and then bring the feet about hip distance. Bring your arms up overhead, inhale, and exhale, hands to heart. Nice work. We'll step wide. One more standing posture sequence. Inhale, open the arms. And turn your right toes out. Exhale, bend your knee for warrior 2. Good. Reach it long. One more breath in. And breath out. Inhale, straighten, arms lower to your sides, turn your feet parallel, turn your left toes out, inhale, open the arms, and exhale, bend your knee. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. You can look over your front hand. Remember, adapt the practice to you. And let's come up, straighten the legs. Parallel your feet, hands to the hips, and hinge forward. Nice and keep the hands on the thighs. Maybe they come to the knees, or maybe they come to the calves, or maybe they come to the floor. Let's take 2 more breaths here. All right, bend the knees, come up, and heel toe the feet together. And we're going to repeat our chair to our warrior 3 one more time. See if we've gotten a little bit stronger. All right, of course, if you're fatigued, instead of feeling stronger, then you can stop, maybe come into child's pose, or you could also watch the rest of this class later as it's uploaded. So turning to the short edge of your mat, arms up, feet about hip distance, exhale, and drop those hips down. All right. And then push down to the right foot. Inhale, the left leg comes up. Exhale, hands to heart. Now try to hinge forward. Maybe touch down for support. Bring your arms to your sides. Lift those arms up. Squeeze the elbows in towards the back. And then maybe lift the back foot. And let's come back, hands to heart. Nice work. All right, inhale, arms rise. Exhale, and sink those hips down. Inhale, push to your left foot, right leg lifts. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, stand up tall. Exhale, hinge forward as the leg goes back. You don't have to go far. And then bring those arms up behind you. Squeeze the pinkies towards the back. Maybe lift the leg a little bit more. And touch down. Good. Hands to heart. Inhale, circle the arms up, reach up, maybe look up. And exhale, hands to heart. All right, we'll do our warrior two one more time on each side. So taking the legs nice and wide. Inhale, open the arms. Right toes turn out. Exhale and bend the knee. Good. 2 more breaths here. Straighten, lift the arms, turn the left toes out, and exhale, bend. See how strong, stable you feel. The breath is easy. Great. Inhale and rise, straighten, turn the feet parallel, and lower the arms. Come into that forward fold, hands coming down to the thighs, the knees, ankles, calves, or feet. Bring your hands down to the floor and bring the knees down to the floor. Okay, we're coming into a variation of frog, and you're going to take your towel and kind of stretch it out so that your knees come onto the towel. Okay, now you can bring the toes together for a wide child's pose. I'll show this maybe side. How about? So the knees coming wide and the toes come together. Coming into a wide child's pose with the hips coming down towards the heels, and you can come down onto the forearms, or you can lower down, maybe even use your pillow. Come down this way. You can also stay upright a little bit more, maybe on the forearms. And we'll take 2 or 3 more breaths here, noticing any sensation, the fronts of the feet, the spine, the hips. All right, last breath. Rest yourself up. And to get out of this, you have to press into the hands, lift the knees, and bring them together. Good. Now, you're going to lift the heels. Take your towel and bring it behind your legs here. So just on the calves, or maybe just behind the knees. If your knees are tender, like mine, you could also kneel on the pillow to give you a little bit more support. All right. And then coming back, those heels lifted, and if it's too strong, keep your weight more forward. So we're working now the bottoms of the feet here, and you can come back stronger. Some of you might even be able to sit upright on the heels. Depending on your towel, if it put too much pressure on the ankles, you can bring it more under the ankles or under the knees. Good. All right, and let's release that. Move your props to the side. And we're going to do one more downward dog just to kind of see how that felt. So hands under the shoulders to start with. And then lift up, downward dog. You can find stillness in downward dog or maybe a little bit of movement. And coming down to tabletop, and then come all the way down to your stomach. Straightening out the legs. I'll bring the arms alongside the ears. Palms facing down. With your next inhale, we're going to lift the arms and legs, but really press those hips down into the floor. So some people call this Superman, as you can see why. So pressing the hips down, try to keep your legs straight. Don't bend the knees, otherwise you're working more into the hamstrings. I want you to find the glutes, the back muscles. Reach long to the arms and fingers. And then lower it down, resting your head on the back of the hands and turning your head to one side. Turn your head now to the other side. And come back to center. Tuck your toes under, hands come behind the shoulders. With your next exhale, press up to tabletop. Bring the knees forward for 3 rounds of cat-cow. So inhaling and exhaling. All right. And then sitting back into child's pose. You can have the pillow behind the knees, or you could even have your pillow on your lap and resting forward like so. Use your towel behind the knees or on the front of the ankles. If you're tight on the front of the ankles, a towel under the knees can feel really nice. And we'll take just a couple more breaths here. All right, and then come on up. We're coming to turn around, and I'm going to take the left leg forward and tuck the right foot in like so. Now, if your knee is getting cranky, you can elevate it on your pillow. You could also elevate your hips on your pillow instead. We're going to use our towel, bending that left knee, hook the towel over the bottom of the foot. And bring those hands a little closer to the foot. And start to straighten your leg. You're holding maybe the towel, maybe pull back on the ends of the towel. Take a big breath in here so your arms are straight, your spine is tall, and on your exhale, draw yourself towards your straight leg. If this causes discomfort in the hands, then just let the hands come down to the floor. And rise back up. Switch sides. So either sitting on the pillow or placing it under the knee. For me, I've got cranky knees, but if you have a cranky back or cranky hamstrings, that's where you're going to want to have the pillow under your seat. Take that towel, bottom of the foot, bring the hands close to the foot, sit up tall. So very important stage. Sit up tall, and then maybe start to extend the leg, using the leg to kind of pull you forward, just kind of noticing sensations along the way. What is the knee saying? What about the hamstring? What about the back? And then what about your jaw? What's going on? All these different body parts kind of get ignored when we're focusing on one aspect. So it's more than just the hamstrings, right? So let's take a couple of breaths here. Noticing even your jaw. And with your inhale, rise, rise, rise. Good. And release. One last sitting pose. So again, have a seat on your pillow if you're not there. And we're going to take the towel. So bring the soles of the feet together. I'm going to take the towel over the tops of the ankles and behind. So kind of make a little, like a ribbon shape there. And then maybe bringing the hips a little bit more forward. You can push down to the floor behind you. Just kind of rock the knees side to side. And then find a place in the middle that feels, like you could hang out here for a little bit longer. And keep pushing down kind of into the floor behind you. If that puts strain on the fingers, you can bring the fingers forward. You can even hold on to the front of your mat, or depending on how far you're hinging from the hips. So again, if your back is cranky and you're rounding and you're kind of leaning back into the hips, you want to just think about sitting tall. So using some kind of leverage with the arms, the fingers, you can even leverage with the elbows to bring the extension in the fold rather than a rounding in the fold. Okay, so remember that. Let's just take a couple of breaths here, a couple more breaths. Great. All right, and release. Nice work today, team. Coming onto your back with the pillow under your head, and you can have your towel nearby. Making your way down. And we're actually gonna come onto our side, so face the screen. Take your bottom leg straight, and the top leg, the foot's gonna come kind of onto the thigh here. And your knee is gonna come down towards the floor. So you might be all the way onto your side here, or if it puts too much strain on the back, maybe your knee is lifted a little bit. And then you're going to take your bottom arm straight out in front. We'll take the top arm now, circle it overhead towards the wall behind you, and then open up into a twist here. So the arm comes back behind, and you might take your head up to the ceiling, or maybe it looks over the back shoulder, or maybe it looks forward. But again, just allow a little bit of freedom in that knee here. So it can float up towards the ceiling. And you might come a little bit more onto the back side. So again, just tracking sensation in this inner journey that we call yoga. So tracking sensation, there's discomfort and it doesn't go away after a breath or two. Then adapt or adjust your posture, I mean. Good. And then we'll come onto our back, facing that foot down, and come into a constructive rest pose with the feet a little wider than the hips, knees together, and hands resting somewhere that's comfortable. I'll take a couple of breaths here. All right, second side. So straighten your other leg and then roll to your side. Foot to the thigh or somewhere on the knee. And take the top arm and open it towards the screen. Letting the head go, letting that knee float. You can be all the way on your side or slightly to the back. Either way that supports ease and the breath, that creates some extension. So we're working, here, tonifying the organs, also in releasing back muscles, outer hip, even IT here, and even upper middle back. So we'll just take a couple more breaths here. And then coming onto your back. Straightening both legs now. Arms coming to your sides. With your next inhale, flex your feet. So feet towards the knees. Bring your arms straight up to the ceiling and alongside the ears. Exhale, point the feet and lower your arms. Inhale, arms rise, feet flex. Exhale, lower the arms. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. And now circle the arms out wide, overhead, and then cross one elbow over the other, grab opposite shoulders. Release the arms, circle them out wide, overhead, and cross the other elbow on top, grabbing opposite shoulders. Those arms come down to your sides, and you can take your towel if you like, place it under the knees, and straighten the legs for constructive final relaxation and meditation. Getting yourself comfortable. You may not like this position. You might want to adjust anywhere so that your body is comfortable, finding ease, allowing yourself to rest onto the surface, allowing yourself to come to a quiet place of mind, quiet place in the breath and body. While I guide you through a meditation, a body scan. So making some audible sighs. This helps to relax your jaw. Helps to bring surface tension. Let it dissolve. And if it's possible to breathe in and out through your nose now, the next few minutes will help to activate the calm, and quiet, the ease and comfort. And begin to notice the inside of the mouth, the roof of the mouth. Sensing your eyelids. If they're open or closed, are they fluttering? No right or wrong. No need to control anything or judge anything. We're just noticing. This is not an assessment. We're just simply witnessing. And now sensing your inner ears, the ear canals. Sensing your shoulders. And sensing the cavity of your torso. So as the breath comes in, the cavity expands. The ribs move outward, downward, and upward. And as you breathe out, there might be a warming or a cooling sensation. What do you notice? Sensing how the breath is moving in this inner space. And sensing your hips. Sensing your legs. Sensing the soles of your feet. And the space between the toes. Sensing your legs, your hips, your torso as your body is breathing, your shoulders, your palms. Just noticing. Noticing the space between the fingers. Just sensing these areas from within. As we navigate our inner landscape, navigating it without judgment, without assessment, and just observing it as it is in this moment. Sensing the inside of your mouth, and the hinges of your jaw, the ear canals, and your eyelids. Now sensing your whole body on the surface you're resting on. A progressive state of relaxation, ease, and comfort that has come now into your body. Take a few more moments in silence, just sensing, breathing, tracking breath. Tracing the peace and comfort as it permeates every cell, every pore of your being. And take a couple more breaths. And I'll begin to welcome the room, the sounds in the room, any temperature sensations in the room. Noticing the texture beneath you, maybe the texture of your clothing, maybe the texture of your skin. Just be real present and remain as present and aware as possible as you begin to find additional movement, finding ways to move, having the choice to move in those ways, the way that your body calls, the way that is the most satisfying. As you remain present and aware, eventually, in your own way, in your own time, making your way up to sitting. And as you arrive in your seated posture, I welcome you to bring your hands together in front of your heart. And maybe keeping the eyes closed inward or downward. Take a moment to bow with respect, gratitude, and lift the gaze and release the hands. Again, I'm Tonya. It's been my absolute honor and pleasure to support you in your practice of health and wellness. Please welcome any comments. I'll stay on for a moment. And if you'd like to join our Comeback Yoga community, if you haven't already, you can do so by subscribing to the YouTube channel, hitting the bell icon, being notified of any upcoming classes. And also we welcome any other kind of support, whether it's financial or in any other way that you can, just by showing up. We so appreciate all of you. Until next time, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, EJ. Take good care. Until next time.